Here we will start out with a red shirt, or if you don't have a red shirt, you can get a lot of red fabric, but I think a red shirt would be better to use. I have marked 2 places along the tips of the shoulders where the pencils are, and that's where the ends of the tunic will be. One right on the left side and one right on the other side. See, I got a little game capture right here. It shows the ends of the tunic, which is the top part, ending on the tips of his shoulders. Now I will draw from the tips going down to the point on the tunic for the front side. Remember, if you are drawing on a shirt or fabric or whatever you have, take your time with it, because sometimes the pencil catches on it and it's harder to write on than paper, and you have to go write on it darker so you'll be able to see it. So just remember those quick little tips so you can get done faster, and so you can be able to see your finished product before you're done cutting it out and getting ready to finish it. I have sped up most of the video in this, so it can go by a lot faster, because most of the time I am taking my time by drawing out and sewing later on in the video, and it actually did take a lot of time, so I made a lot of cuts, and I have made this go by a lot faster than normal. Now I'm just making sure that I have the lines thick enough so that I can see them later on. And just to let anybody know, if they did not know, this is the back of the tunic. This is not the front, this is the back of the tunic. Now I'm trying to make the back of the tunic pointier point, I guess you could probably say. Since the front is a little bit thicker, the back is supposed to be thinner. As you can see in the game capture that I will show soon, you can see that it is thinner in the back than in the front. So I'm trying to change that real quick. Here is where you can see that the tunic gets shorter around the neck and the back, and to a V-neck in the front. And here I am working on the back of the shirt, starting to go down. I'm going to start on the collar, and I'm going to start on going down the shirt to make it to a more pointier triangle than the front of the tunic. Now I'm just fixing up the front of the tunic with starting on the collar, making it pointier going down to the middle of my chest, which would be how I'm wearing the shirt. It would go down to the middle of my chest, and that's where the point would end at a V-neck. Now I am starting on making a line outside of the main line where this new line you would need to cut on, because you would need to fold it under later to make these stitch lines that will be going along the edge of the tunic. Just as if you can see in the last game capture, there are these stitch lines that are the inside of the tunic all around on the front and back. So I have made extra lines extending out so I can fold them under and sew them down to make some stitch lines. There was the front of the tunic, and there is the back of the tunic. They're all drawn out and pretty much almost ready to be cut out. Might need to darken a few lines, and then I will be ready to cut out the tunic and get ready to sew it. Now we're going to cut. Make sure you don't cut through both layers, only one. That's why I pulled up both and did not cut them, because I know not to cut both layers because you're going to need the other side for the back. So make sure to only cut through the front and the back at one time and not both at once, because that will not work, and you will just make two of the same copy of the front or the back wherever you start out. So just watch what you're doing and cut what you're supposed to cut. This is the finished product after cutting out the tunic. This is not sewn or fully done yet. I'm just showing you what it looks like whenever it's on me, and I am going to get ready to sew the edges for the stitch lines on the tunic. You can get a needle and red thread, or a thread that matches whatever cloth or clothing you have, and sew it around the edges. Here I'm just showing you a little bit of me sewing, or starting to sew, and then it's going to show a little bit of me sewing some more, just to get a feel of what I'm doing on this project. I'm showing you guys a lot of what I'm doing. And once we are done sewing, we will start the painting, which would be the last step of this project. here when you start painting, for the front, you're going to have to paint your whole hand black, but start by putting your middle finger on the very end of the V-neck and spread your hand out, and that's where you will have to place a black hand covered in ink or paint or anything dark for that matter, just to imitate black, and put it on the front of the tunic. There is the finished product for the front of the tunic. Middle finger starts at the V-neck and everything else goes around it, and it looks pretty good. We're going to wait for that to dry and then start for the back of the tunic. Now that the other half is dried, we're going to start from the back, do a little bit similar process for starting the back as the front. You're just going to mark where you're going to put your fingers with pencil marks on the back of the tunic. You're going to still paint your hand and do all that stuff, and you're just going to mark where you place your fingers so you don't have to keep you jumping your hand around. Obviously that is dried and that looks pretty good. It has to be in the same general location as the front hand, so try to do your best at that and just get it done just like that. It doesn't need to be the exact same copy. It can be a little dried out or less painted like the mine is. For the black pieces on the front of the tunic, I have went out to the store and bought a Canon full 4-piece sheet set of bed sheets, and they came with some pillowcases and some large sheets, so I decided to use a pillowcase for the black squares, I guess you can call them, on the Dark Brotherhood triangle tunic. They will be going on the left, right, and back, far left and back, far right of the tunic. So we're going to get this started. First, you just have to cut alongside the big seam on the pillowcase till you get to the top. Then you would have to cut alongside of another seam, because since you cut up the side, it's still a pillowcase and it's a round or square object, sorry. And there will be kind of a cone shape left, so cut alongside the one extra seam and it'll make the pillowcase flat like a blanket or towel. So we have this full thing cut out and we are ready to start making some templates. Made these 2 templates for the front 2 pieces. That one would be going on the right side and the other one would be going on the left, so we're going to cut those out right now. Now you can take some pins and take your pillowcase, pin the templates onto the pillowcase, and cut them out. You will not be able to draw on this pillowcase because the graphite in any normal pencil will not be able to be darker than the color of the pillowcase, and you will not be able to see the line. Now you can start to cut out your first template that has been pinned down. And there we go. Next, you can get a pin and some black thread and get ready to sew the black squares onto the tunic. As you can see, there's a little red space I'm leaving because the real thing, as you can see in this game capture right here, is it's away from the stitches that go up onto the tunic along the sides. So just make sure to make the black pieces, even on the back too, the black pieces cannot go along the stitches. Just gonna finish sewing these front two pieces on. Now you should trim on the black edges so they don't hang over the red. Just make them snug up against each other. Then you can start to make the back two templates for the back two rectangle pieces. Do the same thing you did for the front squares, pin them on black, and cut them out. For the back two pieces, I have just taken a bunch of fabric glue, put it on the pillowcase, and I have just slammed those things down on there pretty neatly, and it looks just as good as if it is sewn. This is the end of the project for the Dark Brotherhood triangle tunic. And like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if it's good, tell me if it's bad. I will see you in the next video. See you guys later.